We often think of our BCDs as being fairly tough, but are they tough enough for baggage handlers? Hi, all of you awesome scuba divers out there. Welcome to the Scuba Diver Magazine channel, and welcome to Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A. Well, I'm Mark, a former dive instructor, doing my best to answer your scuba diving questions. So if you do have any scuba diving questions, by all means pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Use this Ask Mark hashtag to get it featured in an upcoming video. And in the meantime, I'll do my best to type out an answer so you can answer sooner rather than later. But yeah, today I'm answering a question from Tom, all about any kind of packing tips for BCDs and backplates. So Tom Woods says, do you have any tips for packing your backplate and wing for a dive trip? Carry-on or checked? Recommendations on a carry-on bag? I'm planning on packing my regulators and dive computer in my carry-on, but I want to be as streamlined as possible for my travel days. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways of doing it. There are some divers, and I have done it myself, where you basically put everything in your carry-on. It's not great. It's great because you feel like very nomadic and everything, but realistically it's not like the best. And if you're getting free checked luggage anyway, hey, you might as well use it. Touch wood, I've never had an issue with bags going missing or things being damaged in my bags. Touch wood. It does happen and it is a consideration, but yeah, I'm not too fussed about checking things. Your BCD, a backplate especially, checked. I think some divers that I've been with have, I mean, I've done it myself. I brought a BCD with me as carry-on, but it was an 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 jetpack, I think it was called, and it was specifically a BCD that turned into a backpack. It was a bit of a fad that didn't really go very far, and I doubt, I think 𝐬𝐮 owns the rights to 𝐬𝐮 now, if there is still rights to 𝐬𝐮. I don't think there's anything like that in their lineup, and I don't remember seeing any others. There are some pretty lightweight ones, and yeah, you can make BCDs quite small. I mean, this is my like travel BCD. It's got a little Apex D18 on the back. That's about as small as wings get. The backplate itself is an 𝐼𝐸𝐻𝐷𝐸𝐻. That's not quite as small as they get, but it's quite comfortable. It's quite lightweight, but it is still quite large. So that's what I typically travel with, and that usually goes in my checked luggage. Other backplates, if it's separate, you have the separate wing and then the backplate, then yeah, I probably would separate it a bit, because I tend to see the backplate as like armored protection for whatever's inside my bag. So what I'll do is I'll typically pack the fins first, and I put them on the sides of the bags to protect and give the bag a bit of shape. Pack some soft stuff, usually like my clothes and like board shorts, like rolled up. Softer, more delicate things in the center of the bag. I usually pack my regulators in my checked. Touch wood, I've never had an issue with it. I know some divers do put it in their carry-on. I've never had an issue with it. I think I must have brought regulators with my my carry-on at some stage, but I like to go as light carry-on as possible. So I only really carry like the essentials, like a change of clothes. I always have in my carry-on, just in case my main bag does disappear. But yeah, regulators in the center of the bag, and then I put the wing over the top of it. This is a twin wing, but you get the idea. And what I typically do, or the first thing that I do, is make sure I've drained all of the water out of the bladder. Common mistake. I've had students come sort of all upset with, well, not upset with me, but upset that they've traveled back. They've rented a BCD from us, traveled out, they've done their course, they've gone scuba diving, they've come back from the Red Sea, and for some reason their bag was like 2 or 3 kilos heavier on the way back, even though they didn't buy any souvenirs. Turns out they brought 2 or 3 liters of the Red Sea in the bladder, because every time that you deflate your BCD, a bit of water is getting into that bladder, so unless you drain it, that water just stays inside. And as much as you might not notice it, just picking up your bag, the weighing scales definitely will. So make sure there's no water inside of that bladder. Make sure there's no lead in any weight pouches or anything. It sounds silly, but it can happen if you're not paying attention. Just make sure everything heavy, because, well, the water's included wherever you're going, as is the lead. Make sure that's all gone, and then deflate it as much as possible. A bit of padding can be quite nice, but in the initial packing is a bit of a pain. And look after the valves. You want to make sure that they're protected. So I typically fold them on the inside and then kind of pack that over the regulators. Then I'll put the back plate over the top of it. I still leave the harness attached. I'm not going to be threading and rethreading harnesses when I'm getting in country. So yeah, kind of pack it with the back plate like shaped outwards, because then that's pretty tough. And this is aluminium, which is one of the softers of the metals. That's not bending. If it does bend a bit, it's a sheet of metal, you can bend it back a bit, but it's pretty tough. And yeah, touch wood, I've never had an issue with it. But they typically go, most of the stuff I take with me goes into checked luggage. And then as far as carry-on, it depends on the air flights, the air company, whatever you call it, because the actual dimensions varies. So I have a couple backpacks that come with me. They're just rucksacks, and the one that I use is like a 32 litre. That's my like big bag. I think that was actually sized up for like air travel, and it's so far it's gone through airports without any issues, and that will carry a lot of stuff in it, so that will take a few sort of days worth of clothing. But yeah, in there I'll only, as far as dive equipment, if I'm feeling nostalgic and I'm bringing logbook pages, that will come with me, as well as my dive computer. The dive computer, a lot of the time, if it's just a watch style dive computer, that just, I wear that with me through the airport. It's just a clunky digital watch. Although if I'm using a large screen dive computer, that will go in my carry-on. At least that way it's with me and that can't get lost. But unless you're bringing a mountain of gear, just check luggage is usually plenty. And if it's a proper diving holiday, then you don't need that many like surface clothes and shoes especially. Shoes take up an exorbitant amount of space in your bag. Most of the time I'll have like a pair of flip-flops in my carry-on, and I'm wearing trainers, and that will cover a lot of situations. If you're on a liveaboard, you don't typically wear any shoes, and yeah, out and about, if you're going somewhere a bit more rugged, it's too much for flip-flops, then you've got your trainers. If it's just chilling out but you don't want to wear socks and trainers, then you got your flip-flops, and the flip-flops take up zero space basically. But yeah, don't worry about your BCD, they're usually pretty tough. My regulators are the things that I'm most concerned about, because a lot of them are plastic bodies, and if they're between something hard and they get squished, they're going to just crunch basically. Whereas if they're between something soft underneath and like a wetsuit, then yeah, it's got enough kind of foam padding as it were. But yeah, as bad a wrap as like baggage handlers get, touch wood, I've never had an issue, and I've traveled a fair amount and done some long distance travel. I've never had an issue with losing a bag or having anything damaged on the inside. Others may have different stories to tell down in the comment section, but yeah, that's how I do it. I usually have my BCD on the top, sort of in this kind of upward fashion to protect everything underneath it. Any other questions, by all means, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Remember to use this @smart hashtag to get it featured in an up and coming video. Otherwise, remember to like, share, subscribe, do all that good social media stuff. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.